Well, that was fun, but I think it's time to take a break. Don't you think, Ivy? Good night. Oh, Jesus, I'm done with this game. Why does it keep calling me back?
Raise our sails. It's freedom like you never knew.
I swear I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head forever. It's that time of year again, Christmas time, and I was gonna wait to review this game until a few weeks after the Korra and Transformers videos, but it's the holiday season, so why not give a present a little early? Super Mario Odyssey was one of the most anticipated games for the Nintendo Switch ever since the trailer was leaked in the February Switch presentation earlier this year. Zelda Breath of the Wild filled our appetites for a good while, but it was still an arduous wait for the next game about everyone's favorite Italian plumber. Oh wait, I forgot, we can't call him a plumber anymore, and I'm not gonna cause mayhem over that because let's be honest, when was the last time we saw him do anything plumbing related aside from the Mario Bros. Arcade game? But much like Breath of the Wild, one of the biggest draws to Mario Odyssey was that it was not only a collect-a-thon again, just like Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, it was also breaking a few traditions by bringing in new areas and making it a huge-ass sandbox game, meaning that obtaining a Power Star, or Power Moons in this case, wouldn't immediately boot you back to the hub world and let you pick another one. You were free to explore the area for more, even by just doing little things like destroying trash bags. But definitively, the biggest draw to the game was your new companion, Cappy, this floating hat ghost that can change into any type of hat Mario chooses, which is convenient because Bowser totally destroys Mario's original hat and very shortly gets a new one. Cappy is sort of like a jacked up Swiss Army knife. He's got multiple uses and they're all very handy for the given situation. You can use him as a projectile to destroy enemies, Mario can bounce on him, and if you're skilled enough you can reach really far distances. He can be thrown on specific objects to find hidden coins or even power moons if it's a glowing spot, and if he's thrown at an enemy, Mario will warp inside their bodies and take control of them, including a badass T-Rex and a tank that admittedly has some pretty awkward aiming. The game heavily suggests that you use the Joy-Cons for both Mario and Cappy, but you are able to play with a Pro Controller if you so wish. It's what I used to play Odyssey, and for the most part there weren't any issues, but some of the possessions have exclusive perks that require the use of motion controls, like going faster with the Bullet Bill, or extending even further with this small onion looking thing. Motion controls are also needed to have Cappy spin around you or throw him up in the air, which honestly feels even worse than the enemies. Mario himself thankfully controls just like he did in the previous 3D games, but now when you dive onto the floor, that starts up his new rolling technique that's great for traveling large scales such as these. Why are we collecting power moons, you may be asking though? Well, like most 3D Mario games, they're used as energy for your new ship called the Odyssey, to help reach Bowser and save Princess Peach from tying the knot with him, allowing power to rule over the Mushroom Kingdom. Don't know why it took Bowser 32 years to come up with this plan, but better late than never, I suppose, and even Cappy has an agenda to stopping him, as his sister Tiara was also captured for reasons we're not sure of. I guess it saved him a few coins not having to buy a new one. Mario has to travel all across the world to find power moons in numerous kingdoms, each providing new challenges and settings. A lot of the areas will have a familiar feel if you've been playing Mario games for a long time, but there are a few brand new settings to travel through as well, like the Luncheon Kingdom that's based on food, or the overly advertised Metro Kingdom / New Donk City that has more realistic looking humans, and chock full of references to the Donkey Kong arcade game and the Country series. Oh hey, Pauline's the mayor of this place, cool. Oh wait, that must make things awkward if she knows that Mario's moved on to a dumb royal figure. Pauline, we were just the kids back then. It meant nothing between us. I don't know why as well, but I always enjoy watching Pauline dance with Mario. It just fills me with joy. Despite how much of the Metro Kingdom's been shown in the trailers, this is definitely my favorite world in the game. It's so bizarre to see in a Mario title, but at the same time, it's fun to just run around in this place, and it's a breath of fresh air from the more traditional themes. Make no mistake though, there are a fair few of them, however they're each fun in their own ways, whether by introducing new enemies to possess, new challenges, townsfolk you can talk to, or just by its setting alone. Not a fan of the Desert Kingdom though, I think there's just too much negative space that didn't need to be there. At the very least, I love the Moon Kingdom with its lack of gravity and softer music to make it really feel like you're in space. You know what I also like? The coins actually having purpose for once. Mario Odyssey doesn't give you lives anymore, but instead takes away 10 coins if you fall into a bottomless pit or lose all of your health. However, both this and the set number of purple coins you can collect in each kingdom can be used to purchase different outfits for Mario to wear. Some are entirely new, while others are based on his past endeavors, like the Dr. Mario outfit, or the Scientist outfit that for some reason a lot of people think is a Rick and Morty reference, but is actually from the 1994 Super Game Boy commercial. If you have the appropriate Mario amiibos, you can get some of these costumes without having to pay anything, on top of health replenishment and invincibility if you use the special wedding amiibos. I didn't bother buying these ones because my pride's too good to be lost and I just simply didn't see the point in having them. You know what I don't like though? Bowser's new henchmen known as the Broodals. These guys are basically just the replacements for the Koopalings with absolutely no personality or defining traits. They're just there to get in Mario's way and nothing else. And while I'm at it, the boss fights aren't terrible, but they're not the most memorable out there. It's the typical bash them 3 times at the right moment method, and I do come to expect that in Mario games, but the strategies aren't too brain taxing. There were a few enjoyable ones though, like this dude in the Wooden Kingdom, this fancy octopus in the Seaside Kingdom that takes up most of the map, which is a really cool idea. And the battle against Bowser himself is pretty satisfying, although it's pretty lame that the final fight is the exact same one from earlier in the adventure. Okay, we're starting to reach spoiler territory here, so if you haven't played the game yet and don't want to know all the little secrets and surprises that await, then go to this timecode right here. I'll give you a few seconds. Aside from New Donk City, my absolute favorite kingdom definitely has to go to the returning Mushroom Kingdom from Super Mario 64. You don't get it until you face Bowser and rescue Princess Peach, but when you eventually do, it's really sweet. Being the first game I ever played, I had the goofiest smiles on my face when I saw all the callbacks to it. Lowering the water below the bridge, meeting Yoshi on the roof again and letting you take over him this time, unlocking the outfit that lets you play as Mario from the Nintendo 64 game and getting to use that in the returning garden area, and perhaps best of all, the moons turn into Power Stars and even have a nostalgic jingle when you collect it. The dark side of the moon is also unlocked when you collect 250 Power Moons, a planet full of bunnies and rematches with all the Broodals and their huge mech when you reach the top. This level sucks! And the main reason for this is because you have 5 bosses to beat in a row with little to no health recovery. In fact, you only receive 1 extra heart when you're at the top to fight the mech. It's a painful endurance test and you will be going through this part multiple times. Collecting 500 moons unlocks the darker side of the moon, which is a super tough and long obstacle course with no checkpoints whatsoever. This may sound familiar to you if you've played Super Mario 3D World and you went through Champion's Road. I did, and I beat it. It took God knows how many attempts, but I beat it. Nah, but seriously, this is a very gruesome challenge, and I'm surprised this wasn't as difficult to get as the harder boss fight against Bowser, which requires all 883 moons. Jesus! At this point, you can just keep purchasing more moons in the shops until the counter reaches 999, where there appears a giant hat at the top of Peach's castle. Oh god, the hats are trying to take over the world! Quick, throw Cappy away! Oh no, I can't, he just comes right back! We have no choice but to meet our inevitable end. Clearing the story also lets you break open these cubes in each kingdom that you couldn't break before, which releases more moons that are marked on the map. It's nice there's more stuff to do post Bowser battle, but I've got to say, even though there are more than enough moons to collect and just save the princess, trying to get them all is quite the task. Normally in 3D Mario games there are around 120 Power Stars to collect, but Odyssey has close to 900. Now you only need a small portion of that 900 to finish the story in around 8 hours. In fact, you don't even have to do the plot related moons to complete it. You can just ignore those, explore everywhere, and you'll still have the necessary amount to progress, which adds a ton of replayability. However, a huge chunk of the moons have the exact same goals for each of the kingdoms, such as racing against the not Koopa the Quicks, catching energetic rabbits, or running through all these music notes within the time limit. And while it's good that most of them can be obtained by just doing simple tasks, they also don't require much thinking or skill, with some exceptions. I get that this game's for kids as well as adults, but a few more challenging ones sprinkled here and there would have been good. Despite saying that though, it can also be frustrating and even kinda boring when you feel like you've searched every nook and cranny but still can't find that one damn power moon that's stopping you from completing the game 100%, regardless if you got a hint from the parrot of that world or paid enough coins to get it marked on your map. Certain amiibos can also pinpoint moons out in the open, but it takes like 5 minutes at a time for it to work, so I don't usually bother. Take this moon as an example of difficult searching, where you have to use the binoculars to zoom in on this other Odyssey that's so far away you wouldn't even think to check it. Or how about these moons where you need to ground pound very specific spots based on the framed pictures you find hanging around the kingdoms. The dark side of the moon is full of that nonsense. I'm glad that it's not totally necessary to find all the moons to reach the end of the story, but if you want to do absolutely everything and find all the secrets, man, it can drag sometimes. I really wanted to collect all the moons before doing this review, but then I found that as the moons became more sparse, you're just aimlessly wandering around looking for something to interact with and hope that it'll give you another moon. Now the same could be argued with something like Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds, but those didn't unlock anything too special, all that happened was your inventory space expanding. But in here you get extra levels that you're gonna want to play, and that bothers me. I've now gotten over 730 power moons and I'm getting pretty sick of going back and forth trying to figure out what I'm missing. I will eventually complete this game 100%, but it does ask a lot from players if you choose to do so, and if there's a kid out there that's managed to do it, please let me know as I will happily congratulate them. Nonetheless, obtaining all of those moons was my decision to do, because I enjoyed Mario Odyssey so much. I wanted to play more of the game and get everything I could, even if that meant not all of it being fun. There's this sense of reward with every power moon you get, no matter how small, and it's addicting trying to get as many as you can before moving on to another kingdom. It's definitely not a perfect game, but it's a damn good one, certainly one of the Switch's best so far, next to Breath of the Wild. Things may seem a bit routine here and there, but there's enough fresh to be a truly memorable experience. I'm positive that in years to come, Mario Odyssey will be put in that list of Mario's greatest hits, alongside Mario 64 and the Galaxy games. If you're looking for something to get your kid this Christmas and Breath of the Wild looks a bit too tough, pick Super Mario Odyssey. There's something here for everyone to enjoy, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. And with that said, in case I don't post anything before the 25th, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time when I torture myself in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. Just what I wanted to do before the holidays. Good night.